Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club. Thank you for joining me at my channel. Tonight we're going to continue with our campaign playthrough of Folklore the Affliction. This is going to be episode 4. We're still in chapter 1 of story 1. Now we've just completed helping out a farmer deal with some wolves that have been attacking his farm. And we've successfully dispatched those wolves. Our witch hunter, Kane Shears, currently has 21 Vita and 2 power points. Our magus, Sasan Sobani, currently has 12 Vita and 5 power points. However, he is carrying a condition called sickened. And I'm a little concerned with that because if he gets a second sickened condition, he becomes infected, gets an infection, and that is life-threatening. So we'll have to be very careful with him. He does have a blessed condition as well, and that's going to give him +5 to might and absorption 1. Finally, we have Alec Vorster, our woodsman. He has 13 Vita and 3 power points. Now I should point out one thing to the viewers. In the previous 3 videos, I've been making a mistake. I have not been including my damage bonus on my damage rolls for some reason. I couldn't tell you why. I guess it's just me getting old. Whenever you roll a 2 hit, you get your might bonus. And the same thing happens with damage. You get whatever damage bonus is listed on your weapon and your inherent damage bonus from the character. So we'll start implementing that now. Following our battle with the wolves, it reads, after the wolves are dealt with, the farmer tells you, beyond is a path that will take you to the old burial ground. The mausoleum there houses a long-forgotten entrance to the caves of Nurian's Hollow. That's where the priest went. He agrees to show you his shortcut and offers to join you. The leader gains the farmer companion. So our woodsman is going to gain the farmer companion. And that's going to give him a +1 to ecology and +1 to maximum Vita. So that's a nice addition. Each character can hold a maximum of 2 companions. Now before we proceed, we have to switch our leader. And our new leader now is going to become the magus, Sasan Sobani. And it is going to be a night situation. And now we have not taken our rest action. You can take a rest, the leader can take a rest action once per chapter. And we haven't done that yet, and I think this is a good opportunity to do that. The risk is, after we perform our rest, each character is going to gain 4 Vita and 4 power points back. But we have to make a die roll, a D10. On a 1, 2, or 3, we're going to have an encounter with a random creature. And we would have to consult the skirmish table for this chapter and make a roll on that table. And then we would have a skirmish with that group. So it is a little bit of a risk, but 2 of our 3 heroes are in pretty bad shape by Vita and power points, and I think it would be a good thing to do. So we're going to take care of that right now. And so that is going to move Kane Shears to 21 Vita and 5 power points. Sasan Sobani will be at 16 Vita with 5 power points. And Alec Vorster, our woodsman, will be at 17 Vita with 5 power points. Currently, we're still in chapter 1, so the Magus's Stargazer ability is still in effect. We have Procession of Heavenly Bodies is active as our world event. Gives us a +1 to skill checks. And now we're going to have to make a roll for that rest action that we took. And on a 1, 2, or 3, we're going to have a skirmish with a random enemy. Here's the roll. Roll's a 4, so we've avoided that. That's great. And we're going to continue on now with our story. And it says, continue into the hollow on page 7. It reads, the path heads to an old burial ground. You see the mausoleum that holds the forgotten entrance into Nurian's Hollow. An open grave is to your left. You make your way toward the door to the crypt, hoping to quickly find the entrance into the caves you were told about. All right. So we're going to set up a new adventure board. And this is the cemetery board. We've got an open grave to our left, several points of interest, and a large iron grate that is guarding the entrance to Nurian's Hollow. Our primary goals are move characters to the exit zone and complete map skill checks in order to continue the story by skipping to Chapter 2 on page 8. See the attention dialog box. Now, as this is going to be Chapter 2 starting, we're going to have to, even though there's no enemies on the adventure board at this time, we have to get our initiative board prepared. So we'll take care of that next. I prepared our initiative board. We've got the Witch Hunter at an initiative of 9, and it just so happens that the player initiative happened to be in that slot as well. So he gains, for 3 characters, plus 8 defense, which is good. Next, we've got the Magus at initiative 6, and finally, last is the Woodsman at initiative 4. Our map skill checks include: can you unlock the entrance to the mausoleum? Also, an optional goal would be to investigate the grave that is to our left. We have an attention box, and it says, your skin crawls as you feel tension stirring in the air. The dead are restless today. At the end of every round on this map, the leader must make a D10 roll. On a 1 to 3, we have to encounter 3 decaying dead. Place them adjacent to random characters and begin combat. Once the encounter is complete, you are no longer required to make this roll, nor is your stride reduced by 1. On a 4 to 10, nothing happens. Characters have -1 stride on this map. Okay. So it looks like we're going to have to try to expedite trying to open that entrance to the mausoleum. We'll be making rolls after each round of activation to see if we're going to be confronted by this decaying dead, so we want to try to minimize that. Our strides are going to be reduced by 1 during this mission. Or adventure. So we'll start with the Witch Hunter. He has an initiative of 9. And right now his stride is a 4, so that's going to reduce him to a 3. And I think we're going to just move him towards the gate. 1, 2, and 3. All right. And I think that's all that the Witch Hunter is going to do at this point. Next in line is the Magus, and he has a stride of 4 as well. That's going to be reduced to a 3. Now we could have him try to check out this open grave that is nearby. I'm not sure if we should. He is already sickened. I think we will pass on that. And I'm going to have him move forward to 3 spaces as well. 1, 2, and 3. And I believe that is going to end his activation. Now in order to get rid of his sickened condition, we're going to have to go into town and either try to meet up with the gypsy caravan or a doctor in town. That would be 2 ways we can try to get rid of that sickened condition. And finally we have the Woodsman. He is initiative 4. His stride currently is a 5, so that'll be reduced to 4, and we'll have him move 4 ahead. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, that brings the round to a close, and we have to make a roll now, an encounter roll. On a 1 to 3, we're going to encounter decaying dead. Okay, here is the roll. It's a 6, so we're safe, and we will continue on with a new round, beginning with the Witch Hunter. Our Witch Hunter will activate, and I'm considering whether I should have him try to investigate that token there or not. I think we will. I'll have him move 1, 2, and 3. We'll have him move there. He is within 1 space of one of those tokens, so we can have him act. And this is going to be an interact. A character may interact with one feature on the map, such as a search token or a skill die check. So that's what we'll do. So the Witch Hunter is going to make a D10 roll and we'll consult the search table. We'll see what happens. Result is a 10, and it says success. The character can draw a card from the items deck. That is great. So we'll remove the search token and draw a card from the items deck. And I almost forgot, we are starting a new chapter, and when that happens, we have to draw a new world card. We've drawn the card Solstice. For each character in the game, place a tracking token on this card. Characters may discard a token to add 1 to any die roll. Well, that's pretty good. We'll do that. So I've placed 3 tracking tokens on that Solstice card. We've drawn an item card for the Witch Hunter's find, and he's found a good item. And this is fine leather boots. +3 to defense, +1 to initiative. And it's an enhancement for the feat. It's worth 20 gold coins, and I'm going to update his card with that right now. All right, so that was a pretty good find for Cane Shears, especially the +1 to initiative and +3 defense. That's going to move his defense now up to 41. Okay, that is going to complete the Witch Hunter's activation. We'll move on to the Magus. His stride now is 3 with the reduction. So we're going to move him forward 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I think that's going to end his turn. And finally, the Woodsman is going to activate. He has a stride of 5 that'll be reduced to 4. So we're going to move him up 4, I think. 1, 2, and, well, 3. And he's at the gate. And let's see what the entry for that is. And that says, Trickery 7. Any character during their turn. Can you unlock the entrance to the mausoleum? So we're going to have to make a D10 roll to interact with that. Right now, we would have a +1 for our Solstice season world event. We'd be able to discard a token to add 1 to the roll. That would help. Now the Woodsman does not have any trickery bonus, so we would be looking at a 7 or greater. That'd be pretty tough. And I think we're going to wait on that because the Magus has this Touch of the Magi ability. It says you may tap an adjacent ally on the shoulder, whispering, do better. That ally may re-roll a failed die or attack roll. So I'm going to wait till the Magus can get adjacent to him, and then we will attempt that trickery test next round. That'll complete this round. We're going to have to make a roll now to see if we're going to encounter anything of those decaying dead. On a roll of 1 to 3, that is what is going to happen. Here's the roll. It's a 5, so we've gotten lucky. All right, we're going to start a new round now, beginning with the Witch Hunter. And I think what we're going to do is move the Witch Hunter next to the Woodsman. And that's going to be the end of his round. There is another magnifying glass search item in this location, but I think we're going to try to get this door open. Moving on now, the Magus is up next. He is going to move forward 1 space, placing him adjacent to the Woodsman. And then we can use that Touch of the Magi special ability if needed. We can do that once per fight, it says. Well, fight. This isn't a fight, so I guess we can't use that. That ally may re-roll a failed die or attack roll, but it says once per fight. That makes me believe that it's only during a fight situation. I'll have to think about that. Well, it does say failed die or attack roll, so I guess we can use that. This is an active ability, and that's going to cost us 1 Vita. I'm sorry, 1 power point. Okay, we're going to move on now to the Woodsman, and he's going to attempt that map skill check. This is a Trickery 7, and if necessary, we can use that Solstice tokens that we've got for that world event. That says characters may discard a token to add 1 to any die roll. Now, what I don't know is if that has to be done before the roll or after. I'm going to see if I can find an answer in the rules. Well, I can't find an answer if we have to dedicate those die roll modifiers before the roll or if we can use them after. If it's a normal modifier to a skill check, that is automatically included before we roll the die, but this is a seasonal thing. I'm not sure how to handle that. Well, I'm going to rule that we can use those after the fact. So we're going to make the skill check. We're looking for a 7 or greater. And we'll see what happens here. We have a few reroll options. One of them is that touch of the Magi. That would allow him to reroll a failed die. The Woodsman also has a fossilized knucklebone, exhaust for the rest of the story, to reroll any one die, so that could be helpful as well. Okay, here is the roll. Result is a 5. Okay. Well, I think we're going to discard 2 of those tracking tokens on the Solstice card. That will bring us up to a 7, and we would pass that trickery test. And it says, success. You are able to unlock the door. Remove it from the map. All right, so that is good. We'll remove that from the map. And we've pretty much solved that first part of the story. So we have to move the characters into the exit zone. And that is going to be that mausoleum space. So we're going to have to make a roll one more time for the decaying dead, and we'll see if they become a problem for us. This is the end of the round, so we'll make a roll on a 1 to 3. It'll be encountering the decaying dead. It's a 7, so we're good. Everyone is going to now activate in order, and all of them are going to move into the mausoleum. All right, we'll continue reading now. It says, into the darkness. You pass through the doors of the mausoleum to discover that the back of the wall has crumbled, exposing an entrance into the caverns under Nurian's Hollow. It is dark and smells of decaying meat. Your senses tell you to run, but your bravery edges you through the hole in the wall. All right, and we have to make a story skill check. This is going to be a nerve test, nerve 4, for all characters. And that reads, enter the dark without letting fear get the better of you. Okay. So we're going to begin with Kane Shears, our witch hunter. He has a nerve bonus of +2. So that gives him +2 on this nerve test, and we'll see if he can do it. And we need a 4 or greater. He rolled a 5, so he's good. Next is the Magus. He does not have any nerve bonus. So we'll make the roll and see if he can pass it without any help. He did not. He failed. And it says, failure. You must continue forward. You know that for certain. However, fear grips you in its quivering embrace as you dread what lies ahead. Become spooked. So our Magus has another condition, and that's called spooked. -5 might, -1 nerve. And so what we have to do now is do a nerve saving throw to see if we do become spooked. And that reads, spooked, a negative status. Your confidence has been shattered. -5 might, -1 nerve. Pass a nerve 5 at the end of any combat, 1 attempt each combat, to remove the status. Resist with the nerve skill bonus. Well, he has no nerve skill bonus, so it looks like he's going to keep that spooked condition until we have a combat, and then he can attempt to get rid of that. Okay, finally we have Alec Vorster. He has no nerve bonus. Is that correct? No, he does not. So he'll be making the roll straight up. Here is the roll. And he failed it too. So he's also going to gain that same condition, spooked. So he's going to gain a spooked condition as well. All right. Incidentally, the success on that reads, confidence surges through you. The darkness penalty you receive in the next map is reduced by 2. Okay. So that would be applied to Kane Shears, our witch hunter. And we continue reading. It says, the caves are dark, damp, and cold. You trip and stumble, trying to find your way in the near blackness. After a few minutes of this waking nightmare, you notice a glow ahead. Faintly luminous mushrooms provide the only evidence that you have not left the world and stepped into Hades. The passageways are narrow. You become claustrophobic and have to take deep breaths to calm yourself. Suddenly, you see movement up ahead, barely noticeable in the dark as figures stealthily close on your position. All right. And it says Darkness Tutorial. Darkness is an effect that negatively impacts a character's effectiveness in combat. Combat that occurs in darkness confers -5 might to all melee attacks and -10 might to all ranged attacks. A character holding an equipped light source, such as a torch, does not take these penalties. Foes automatically win first strike. Darkness has no negative effect on creatures. Okay, we have to set up the Cave Tunnels map section. All right, as this is a new adventure board, we have to move our first player from Sasan Sobani. We flip that over and that goes to Alec Vorster. He will be our first player now, the leader. We've also made our rolls for the initiative. And when it says first strike, the new initiative rules override that. But what you do is you give those, if they are listed as plus, as first strike, you give them +1 on their initiative roll. So the red and green foes, these Night Stalkers, are at 9 and 10 right now. But the threat cards are way down at the bottom. So we're going to qualify for C1 that says for 3 characters as above but with 2 Vita. Receive, in this case, 2 Vita at the start of your turn if foes are present. So that's a good card for us for an initiative card. The foe card is way down at the bottom, so they're probably not going to be able to get to that. All right, now we've set up our Cave Tunnels tile. There is blocked rubble here. There are 2 search tokens and 2 of these spawn tokens. And those might come into effect later. It is in darkness, so we've got our darkness token here. And we'll see if that says anything on the back. Yes, darkness, melee, -5, ranged, -10 might. Okay. We're going to be going up against 2 Night Stalkers, a green and a red. The green has 22 Vita and the red has 22 Vita as well. Our primary goals are to defeat the Night Stalkers. See Encounter dialog box. The map is in darkness. Creatures have the first strike. We've given them the +1 to the initiative. We're going to be at -5 for our melee and -10 for ranged. If there are no foes on the map, you are ready to move on. Skip to the Changer on page 9. Okay. Our optional goals would be to investigate search locations, and it says this rubble is unstable and may be shifted to open a passageway. It does not look like the priest went this way, and there could be danger beyond. One character may spend their act to remove the rubble token. If they do, read Story Moment 53 on page 49. All right. Now these Night Stalkers have a defense of 48 and a stride of 4. Their special power is on a successful hit, the Night Stalker transforms into a werewolf if its power die is 0. Any damage it already received is subtracted from the werewolf's Vita. Remove the Night Stalker from the map and replace it with a werewolf. And then he also has Savage Attack, Join the Pack, and Hellish Howl. All right. Now since we are in a dusk mission, it's going to be +2 might to the Night Stalker. So he'll get +2 on his 2 hits rolls. And we're ready to begin the round, and it will start with the initiative 10 red foe. He is up first. Now, one thing we should also point out is one of our characters, Kane Shears, ended up passing that nerve test, and that allows him to reduce the darkness penalty by 2. So in that case, it would be only -3 and -8 for him. So there's a lot going on for us to remember all of this. We'll just have to take this slow. So the red Night Stalker is going to activate. He has a stride of 4. So he's going to move 4 towards that character. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's where the red Night Stalker ends up. Night Stalker is a melee character, so he won't receive any ranged attack. Initiative will move on to the green foe, and he has 4 stride as well. Now we got a block in here, so it looks like not going to be able to get through. So I guess he's going to be able to move just as close as he can, and that's it. Goes down to a single passage there. So then we will shift down to the next initiative, and that is the Witch Hunter. All right. Now the Witch Hunter has a ranged weapon. That is the crossbow. That has focus 1. So the first step is we're going to move the Witch Hunter. He currently has a stride of 4. So we're going to have him move up 1 and 2. And then he's going to launch an attack with his crossbow against the red Night Stalker. Now, because it's darkness, it's going to be a -10 might for him, but he did pass the nerve test earlier, so we will reduce the penalty by 2. So right now we are at -8 for his ranged attack. He also gains +4 might for his normal ability. So we would be at a total of -10 +4, so that's -6, and then we can reduce that a further 2 because we passed the nerve test. So we're at -4 then. Now the Witch Hunter also has this ability, Witch Hunter, in the scope. Gain +5 might with ranged weapons during the first round. So we will use that as well. And that's a passive ability, so we're going to gain an extra +5 for that. So once again, we are at -10 for the darkness, +4 for his might. That would put us at -6. We can adjust that further by 2, so that's -4, and then we're going to gain +5, would give us +1 for this first shot, and we'll take our shot and see what happens. We're looking for a 48 or better. Here's the roll. And we rolled a 33, and that's a clear miss. So we've used up one of our ammunition. We're down to 2. And I'm going to see if there's any other bonuses. And he does have one ability, and that's this tracker ability. It says you have superior skill at routing your enemies. Reroll a missed ranged attack or recover 1 ammo, usable during a skirmish, once per round, and it would cost us 1 power point. So we're going to do that. We'll reduce his power points to 4, and we're going to try to re-roll that. And we're still at a +1 for our overall modifier. And we rolled a 23, so it's still a miss. All right. So that's going to bring Kane Shears' activation to a close. That's not good. And we will move on to next in line for initiative, which is our woodsman. I'm going to leave the woodsman here, and I'm going to allow the Magus to get next to him, and then he can use his Touch of the Magi ability. So he's just going to stay where he is, and then now it'll be the Magus's activation. He's going to move up 2, putting him in adjacency to the Witch Hunter, and that's going to complete the first round. So we will start a new round beginning with the red Night Stalker. He is going to close on his enemy, and he's going to launch an attack on the Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter has a defense of 41. So that is what the Night Stalker is going to attempt to hit. Okay, here's the roll. And he rolled a 41. That is equal to his defense. Now the creature does get a +2 to might because of the dust condition, so that will be enough to hit him. So we will have to make the result was a 1 for the power die, and it says savage attack. You are savagely attacked with long nails, causing 1d6 plus 1 damage. All right, so we'll have to get out a d6 and get a +1 to that. Okay, here's the roll. It's a 3, so that's modified to a 4. So the Witch Hunter will take 4 points of damage. And that's going to move him down to 17 Vita with 4 power points. So we'll move on to the next activation. It's the green foe. And all he could do would be to move in back of the red one. It's as close as he can get. All right. Next up is the Witch Hunter himself, and he will activate. This is a tough battle because we don't have it's a single wide corridor. All right, the Witch Hunter is going to activate. We could have him move and have him pull back to here and let one of the other 2 characters try to handle this with melee weapons. I guess that might be in order. I think that might be the smart play. So I'm going to have him, you can move through a friendly position, but you can't move through a enemy position unless you pay extra stride to do so. That's a part of the advanced combat rules, and I better take a look at that real quick. That says evade. Characters may move through foes by spending 1 power point. Movement through foes costs 2 stride per space. Well, that might be a way for us to do this. Our Witch Hunter has a stride of 4. So I guess it's not enough because that guy's in back of him. It would take us 4 points to get through that. So we can't do that. I guess we're going to have to pull the Witch Hunter back. And that's going to end his round. We don't have a line of sight to use his crossbow. So we'll move on now to the woodsman, and I think I'll have him move up and launch an attack with his woodsman's axe. He'll move 1, 2, and he's going to launch a melee attack against that Night Stalker. He has a melee, a might value of +4, but he's going to lose -5 to darkness. So we're at -1 right now. So we'll launch a melee attack against that Night Stalker at -1. And we're looking for a 48 in order to hit him. That's his defense. And we rolled a 13. That is a miss. That is going to end his round. And next up would be the Magus. And I think we'll have him pull back. Actually, no, we have a connection there. We can launch an attack on the diagonal. There is a diagonal attack there. So we'll have the Magus stay in position, and he'll launch an attack with his Falcata. Now the Falcata has a special ability called Sacred, but that won't apply to these type of creatures. These creatures are shapeshifters. And that's noted by the symbol in the upper right-hand corner. So the Magus is going to launch a melee attack against that Night Stalker. And he's going to use his Corrosionist ability. That's going to cost us 1 power point. We'll subtract him down to 4. And he's going to launch a Corrosion attack. Add a Corrosion token to your attack before making the attack roll. So this character now has Corrosion on him. There's 4 charges in that. And that Corrosion is going to kick in at the activation of that character. It's going to have a wound taken to it. Okay, so he's going to launch his regular attack now. And he's looking for a 48. And he's going to be at -1. His might now is at 9. This is quite complicated, so we've got to look at this now. We're getting +9 for his might. -5 for the darkness. So we're at +4. And the reason he's getting +9 is because he has the blessed ability, +5 might. And then he's spooked, so that's -5 might. So that's going to cancel that out. So technically we are at, I'll have to adjust his sheet. Technically he is at +4. So we are at -1. I know this is complicated. -1 to the attack. We're looking for a 48. And we've rolled a 25. Not good. So that is a miss. All right. Now, one thing he can do, which I should have done, is he has that spooked ability, and we can do a Nerve 5 test in an attempt to get rid of that. So I think we will do that test right now. I should have done that before the attack, but I didn't. So we'll make that Nerve 5 test to see if he can get rid of spooked. This is a Nerve, and he doesn't get any bonus for that, so we got to get a 5 or greater. And he's failed. Okay, so that is going to end the round, and we'll start with a new round with the red foe. Now that red Night Stalker has corrosion on him, so we have to move that down to a 3, and he's going to lose 1 Vita due to the acid. So the red foe is now at 21. He's going to launch an attack now on, it can be either of those two, so we'll have to make a targeting roll to find out which one he's going to go after. And I guess it will be odd and even. It's even, so he's going after the Magus. Okay. The Magus has a defense of 36 currently. So they are going to be gaining no benefit for the darkness, though. So 36 is the target number against the Magus. They rolled a 46, so that is a hit, and it says join the pack. The Stalker enforces his dominance. Lose 3 Vita. All lycanthropic characters must pass a Nerve 7 or immediately attack an adjacent ally. Well, we don't have any lycanthropes. So, in this case, we have to lose 3 Vita, and that's going to be on Sobani. He's down to 1. All right. Next up is the green foe. There's nothing he can do. He can't move into that space. So we'll shift down then to the Witch Hunter. Now the Witch Hunter is not in line of sight. He would be if we move him here. He would have a line of sight through. So we're going to move him there, and then he's going to attempt to make an attack with his crossbow. It's going to reduce his ammunition down to 1, and there's going to be some modifiers to this. In the advanced encounter rules, it says sight. For every ally or foe that blocks your sight to your target, you receive -5 might. So it only affects characters. So right now we are at -10 might for the darkness and -5 might for firing through the Magus. So we're going to make the attack roll at -15. Not much else he can do. Here's the roll. He rolled a 44. -15 is going to be a 29, and that is insufficient. I think the Witch Hunter will use his tracker ability. He'll spend 1 of his Vita points, moving him down to 3, and that will allow him to reroll a missed attack. We'll try that again at -15. Actually, no. It should be at -8 because he's at a 2-point difference because he passed that nerve test. So it's actually at a total of -13. We rolled a 26. That's a miss. I cannot believe these rolls once again. That will end the Witch Hunter, and we'll move on to the Woodsman. All right. Woodsman is going to use his Woodsman's Axe, and that is a 2-handed weapon. He's going to gain +4 might, but -5 melee, so we're at -1 right now for the attack. Here's the roll. We rolled a 74, so it's down to a 73. That is successful hit. And he has it's a 2-handed weapon that allows us to re-roll or roll an extra die on damage and then take the better of the two. I'm going to double check that. Yes, the two-handed weapon allows us to roll 2 damage dice. Now there's another thing here I forgot about. There's a lot of things happening. The woodsman was spooked. He's -5 to might and -1 nerve, but we can attempt to get rid of this by successfully rolling a 5+, and that is the way we can get rid of the spooked. So he still made the successful attack, but it would have been 5 more might taken off of the roll. See if he can get rid of the spooked counter. He rolled a 6, so he's no longer spooked. That is good. Now we're going to roll our damage. The damage for the woodsman's axe is a d4 + 1. So we're going to roll 2 d4s and then take the larger of the 2 and then add 1 to it. And he also gets his regular damage of +2. So we're at +3 damage right now. Here's the roll. Highest result is a 3. He gets +2 for his normal damage and +1 for the item, so he's at 6. 6 damage has been inflicted to that red Night Stalker. So he's down to 15 right now. All right, that completes the woodsman's activation, and now it is the magus. Now the magus is also spooked. So we're going to try to get rid of that spooked condition for him. He needs to roll a 5 or better. He rolled a 4, so he's still spooked. So he's going to launch an attack with his falcata. He's going to gain +4 might, +5 might for blessed, -5 might for spook. So he's at +4, but we have -5 for darkness. So he's going to overall be -1 for this attack. And we need to get a 48 or better. Here's the roll. And we rolled a 58. 58 -1 is 57. We've done it. So his falcata is successful. He's going to get a d4, and he gets a damage of +1 for his normal damage modifier. So we're at a d4 +1 damage to that first Night Stalker. The roll is a 2. That's modified to a 3. So 3 points of damage on the red Night Stalker. That moves him down to 12. And we're going to start a new round now. We'll move our round marker up to, our initiative marker up to 10, and the red is going to activate. He'll decide who he's going to target. We'll get a d6 roll, odd and even. It's even, it's going to be the magus. All right, the magus has a defense of 36. He does have absorption 1, I forgot about that, from his blessed condition. That absorbs 1 point of damage before you start calculating the total. So we'll have to keep track of this now. 36 is his defense. The creature is going to get +2 for its might during a dusk mission. So we'll roll the attack roll. He's looking for a 36 or greater. He rolled a, whoops, wrong dice. Gotta use these. He rolled a 57, so that's no problem. He's hit him. A 7 is join the pack. He's going to lose 3 Vita. Okay. And I had one other error. The Magus, somehow I read it as PowerPoint, but it should have been 3 Vita. So in reality, the Magus should be down 3 Vita for this attack and 3 from the last one. He'll recover 3 power points though, so we'll put him back to 4 power points. That's what it should be. Okay, that completes the red's activation. We would move on to green. He isn't in combat position. Now that I move him down, I did not. He also has that second corrosion on him. He's going to lose another point for the corrosion at the start of his turn. He's down to 11. Okay, the green. Now we move on to the Witch Hunter. Okay, and I've got an idea now. I think what we're going to do, the woodsman has these traps, and they can't see the traps. So we're going to pull back and let them walk over the traps. So the Witch Hunter is going to pull back 1 space. That's going to end his turn. Next is the woodsman. He's going to move 1 and 2, and we're going to leave behind a trap. And we will put that in the space that we were at. Next, the Magus is going to go, and he's going to pull back 1. And we'll try that. Now the problem is he can move in on the diagonal, so that won't help as much. So I guess instead of placing it there, he's going to, when the woodsman was there, I'm going to reconstruct this. He moves back 1, and then I'll have to see how those traps work, if you have to end the turn there, if you can use them as you move. Yeah, it says he can place them in any space he lands on. So we're going to place it in this space. That's where the trap will be, and he'll move back to that location. That will end the round, and we will start a new round with initiative 10. So we are at initiative 10. The red is going to activate. He's going to move, and he's going to set off that trap, which is great. So he's going to set off that snare, and it's going to do 1d4 damage to him before he's able to launch his attack. So we've used up one of the snares, a 1d4. And that's going to do 4 points of damage to him. He's down to 7 now. So we'll mark him at 7. 7 points, and now he's going to launch his attack. He has 2 targets. We'll make a targeting roll, odd and even. It is odd. He's going after the woodsman. Okay. The woodsman has a defense of 40 right now. And he's going to gain +2 for his defensive, his dusk mission. So we're looking for 40 +2. He rolled 08, so that isn't going to work. It's a miss. All right. Next up is the green. He will move ahead. 1, 2. And this is still underneath that red character. He's at 2 corrosion left. Okay. And the green can't do anything, so next up is the witch hunter. He's here. All right. Now the witch hunter is going to spend 1 power point, and he's going to adjust himself on the initiative track. You can move up or down 1 by paying a power point. He's going to move down to 3 so he can take advantage of the C1 ability, and that says to recover 2 Vita at the start of your turn if enemies are present. So next turn he'll be able to recover that. That'll be his turn. He's not going to fire. What he will do is spend a power point to activate tracker. And it says he can recover 1 ammo. And he'll do that. So he'll spend 1 power point, moving him down to 1. And he'll recover 1 ammo. He's back up to 2 now. Okay, next up is the woodsman. The woodsman is in combat position with that creature, so he's going to launch an attack with his woodsman's axe. Right now, he is at +4 might, -5 because of the darkness, so he's at -1. -1. Okay, here is the roll. We're looking for a 48 or better. He rolled a 42. That is a miss. All right. That's going to finish his activation. We'll move on to the Magus. The Magus is in combat position, and he will launch an attack. He's going to try to get rid of this spooked condition first. We're going to roll a d10, and if he can get a 5 or greater, he can get rid of it. He did. He's got a 10, so he's managed to right himself mentally. He doesn't have the spooked condition anymore, so right now he's looking at a might value of +4, -5. He's at -1 for this attack, and we're looking for a 48 or better. He rolled a 55. -1 is 54. He struck that red Night Stalker. So we're going to roll for damage. Now he is sickened, so he's going to have to roll 2 damage dice and take the worst result. So we'll roll 2 d4s, which is the Falcata, and we're going to get +1 damage, but we got to take the lower of the 2 damage. 2 and a 1, so it's a 1. +1 is 2. So 2 more damage will come off of the red foe, moving him down to 5. We're making some progress at least. That'll end the round. So we'll continue on with a new round, starting with the red foe. He's already in combat position, so he will strike at a targeting. We'll do a targeting roll for him. Odd and even. It is even. He's going after the Magus. Okay. He is going to be rolling, looking for a 36. That's the Magus's defense. He gets +2 for the might on a dusk mission. He rolls a 78, so he's clearly hit him. The result is an 8, and that's Hellish Howl. It unleashes a howl that chills your soul and threatens to overwhelm you. Lose 2d4 Vita and must pass a nerve 5 or lose your next turn. All right, well, we got to get rid of 2d4 Vita. And that's a total of 6. Uh-oh, that's not good. 6 points from the Magus puts him down to 4. He's got 4 Vita. All right, now we have to find out if he has to pass a nerve 5 test or he'll lose his next turn. He has no nerve bonus. He rolled a 4, so he's going to lose his next turn. We'll flip him down. Now, the Magus does have Absorption 1. I forgot about that. And that means the first point is nullified of damage. So, in this case, he's going to have 1 extra Vita. He's up to 5 now because of that. Okay, that is the red activation. Green can't do anything. We'll go on to either the Woodsman or the Witch Hunter. Now, they're starting out with C1, which gives them, they can recover 2 Vita, each of them characters. You can only have 2 on the same initiative level, though, so only 2 of them can take advantage of that. We'll start out with the Woodsman. He is going to gain back, well, his power points are already at 5, so he won't need any. He'll launch an attack then with his Woodsman's Axe. All right, he has +4 might, -5 might because of the darkness, so we're at -1. We're looking for a 48. He rolled an 85. He's hit him. He's got a 2-handed weapon. We can roll 2 damage dice. He gets +1 for the weapon itself and +2 damage for his normal ability. So we're at +3. Here's the roll. You take the higher result. We've got both of them are 1s. So that's a total of 4 damage. And that'll move that foe down to a 1. He's got 1 Vita left. Okay. Next up is the Witch Hunter. He's going to move 1 space, giving him a clear line of sight. The Magus is technically in that space, so there will be a reduction in the 2 hit. So that'll move his ammunition down to 1. He has a +4 might, -10 because of the darkness, so we're at -6. He's firing through another character, which is technically there. And that will add in an extra -5. So we're looking at a total of +4, -15, so it's at -11. -11 to hit with the ranged weapon. He rolled a 40, so there's no hit there. We could use our tracker ability to try to re-roll, and I think we will. That'll be our last point of PowerPoint. Now, he is able to utilize that initiative card with 2 + 2 Vita, so he'll be at 2 Vita now total, and we'll try a re-roll on that. Okay. 71. Okay, 71 -10 is 61. -5 is 57, and then +4. So we've hit him. We've got him. And this is a 2-handed weapon. It does 1d4 + 1. So we're able to roll 2d4s, and we're going to be adding +1 for the weapon, +2 for his normal damage, +3. So we're going to get him. And the larger of the 2 is a 4, so that's 7 points of damage, and we've killed that Night Stalker finally. He's done. All right. Next up then is, next in activation is the Magus. All right, all he can do is stand up because he received that hellish howl. And then we'll start a new round now. The red is gone. So the level 9 initiative activates. That's the green foe, and he's fresh. He's going to move one space and launch an attack on either of those two characters. We'll do a targeting roll, odd and even. It's odd. So he's going after the woodsman. The woodsman has a defense of 40. Character will be gaining +2 to the roll for his adjusted might. The result is a 53, so that's a hit. And the result was a 3 on the power die. Savage attack. You are savagely attacked with long nails, causing 1d6 plus 1 damage. 1d6 plus 1 is 6. So that's going to reduce the woodsman from 17 down to 11. There it is. All right, that is going to complete the greens activation. We'll move on to either the woodsman or the witch hunter. We'll start out with the witch hunter. Since he's on that C1 initiative, he'll allow him to get 2 Vita at the start of his turn. I was doing that wrong. I was doing power points instead of Vita. Oh boy, I apologize for this. This is very complicated. That's part of the problem about playing a campaign game once or twice a month. You kind of forget the nuances of the game. So I'm going to try to make an adjustment for this. His power points would be at 0 right now. And he should have gained back 2 Vita from before. So he's at 19 right now. All right. He's going to launch an attack with his crossbow through the Magus. He's out of ammo. We're going to gain +4 might, -10 because of the ranged, -5 more shooting through a friendly character. So we're at -11. Now he passed his nerve test, so that'll regain 2. So we're at -9. -9. And we have to get a 48 or better. Here's the crossbow attack. 74, and that's sufficient to hit him. So we've got a hit on the green foe. Crossbow is a two-handed weapon. +1 for the weapon, +2 for his normal damage. Where +3 will take the larger of the two. And they're both 2s. So that's a total of 5 points of damage on the green foe. And that'll move him down to 17. 17 left. Whoops. 17. Okay. And that'll end the woodsman's activation. We'll go on to the the witch hunter. We'll move on to the woodsman. The woodsman is going to launch an attack with his woodsman's axe. That'll be a melee attack. He's going to gain +4, -5, so he's at -1, and we're looking for a 48. He rolled a 74. That's a hit. He's going to do 1d4 +1. It's actually going to be 2d4 because that's a two-handed weapon. +1 for the weapon, +2 for his normal damage. We're at +3, the larger of the two. And the larger is a 2. So that's 5 damage. The green is now down to 12. We'll move him down to 12. This Vita tracker is no longer needed. Red is gone. And finally, the Magus is up. He is going to launch an attack with his Falcata. All right, so right now he's blessed, so he's going to gain the +5. So right now he's at +4 might, +5, he's at +9, -5, he's at +4. +4, and we're looking for a 48 or better. He rolled a 52, and that's enough to hit him. The Falcata is a D4, and he gains +1 for his regular damage, but he is sickened. So he has to take the worst of the 2 rolls. Okay, +1. And the worst of those are both 3s. So 3 + 1 is 4, another 4 points of damage, and that creature is down to 8 now. All right. And that will end the round. We'll put these tokens back on the Magus. That's the easiest way to do it, is just move those tokens to what's happening. And you won't forget them. Okay, we'll move on to a new round, and that's the green. He's already in combat position, so he will do a targeting roll, odd and even. It's odd, so he's going after the woodsman. The woodsman has a defense of 40. The roll will have a +2 attached to it for might. And that's a 48, and that's sufficient to hit him. And the 8 is going to be the Hellish Howl. It unleashes a howl that chills your soul and threatens to overwhelm you. Lose 2d4 Vita, and you must pass a nerve or lose your turn. Okay, 2d4 against the woodsman. And that's a total of 2. So that'll move him down from 11 down to 9. Okay, he's got 9 Vita left, and now we got to make a nerve roll. We need a 5 or better. He did it, so he's kept his nerve. That's good. All right, so that will finish the green activation. We'll move on now to either the woodsman or the witch hunter. The witch hunter is out of ammo, so he does gain 2 power. He recovers 2 Vita. Yes, 2 Vita. That'll move him back to 21, and that's as long as there's enemies on the board. But he can't launch any attacks. He's out of ammunition, so we'll move on to the woodsman. The woodsman will recover 2 Vita. He's on that same space. He's back up to 11. And now he's going to launch an attack with his woodsman's axe. Let's see if we can get this guy. So we are at a +4 for might. And it's -5 for darkness. So we're at -1. We're looking for a 48. He rolled a 33, and that's a miss. All right. Now, he does have this fossilized knuckle bone. We could exhaust that for the rest of the story to re-roll any one die, but I'm going to save that. So next up is going to be the Magus. All right, he has a +4 might. He's got +5 for blessed. He's at +9. -5 for darkness. He's at +4. Okay, here is the roll. He rolled a 78, and that's a hit. And he's going to do 1d4 damage. We'll have to take the lower of the 2 because he is sickened. And he gets +1 for his regular damage. The lower of the 2 is a 3, so that's up to 4, and the creature's taken 4 more Vita damage. He's down to 4. We're making progress. Okay, and we'll start a new round beginning with the green. I'll move this sickened token back to the Magus, and now he is going to launch an attack on a targeted character, odd and even. It is even. He's going after the Magus. The Magus is down to 5 damage right now. Okay, so he is going to launch an attack on him. His defense is 36. He has absorption 1. Here's the roll, +2. He missed. It's a 15. That would be a 17, and that is a miss. We'll move on now to initiative 3, and I think we will start with the woodsman. The woodsman is already at full Vita, so he won't regain anything from the initiative, and we'll launch the attack. He is getting +4 might, -5 melee, so we're at -1. He rolled a 57, it's down to a 56, and that's a hit. He will do a total of 1d4 +1 for the woodsman's axe. That's a 2-handed weapon. We get 2 dice. He also gets +2 for his regular damage. So we'll get the higher of 2 of these, +3. The highest is a 3. +3 is 6, and that is sufficient to finally kill the green Night Stalker. All right. I apologize for how that combat went. I made a lot of oversights with that, but I think we did correct most of them, which is a good thing. But there's a lot of moving parts in this game, no doubt about it. All right, so we've won that battle. We're going to receive the coins listed, and that's listed as 6. So everyone is going to receive 6 coins from that combat. So I'm going to give each character 6 coins. All right, now we receive our lore, and that's listed as 25. So each of them are going to receive, oh, I'm sorry, that's actually 6 coins per character that we defeated. So they should be getting another 6. So that's a total of 12 coins. Now we receive our lore, and that's 25 for each. So everybody's going to get 50 lore. I'll mark that down. And finally, each of the characters now can loot. We're going to get a 1d10 roll. And we're able to, if we can get a 10, we're able to draw an item. We'll start out with Cane Shears. He doesn't have any luck bonus, so he's looking for a D10. That's a 9, so nothing there. Okay, next is the Magus. He has no bonus, so he will... Oh, wait a minute. Now, the Magus does have... Yeah, he's got a rabbit's foot. So he's going to gain +1 to search rolls. So he'll be adding 1 to the roll. He rolled a 7. That's modified to an 8. Nothing there. And then Alec Vorster, the Woodsman. He rolled a 10. He's got a 10, and that's going to allow him an item. That's great. And he finds an Aegean round, +5 defense. Exhaust for the encounter to make a foe re-roll an attack against you. Uses up 1 hand. It's worth 25 coins, and it's protective. All right. So that is going to go to the Woodsman. Now, he has a 2-handed weapon right now. That is his Woodsman's axe. So we're going to place the Aegean round in his backpack. All right. And that is going to end that conflict. So we have completed our primary goal, and we continue on, and it says we're supposed to read the Changer. And it says you enter a cavern. Moonlight enters through openings high in the walls and illuminates the chamber. You see a dark figure standing in one of the moonbeams. The side of his face visible where his skin is touched by the light of the moon shifts and bubbles. His features turn from man to snarling wolf, rippling his skin and bones in a most unsettling way. As he turns towards you, he steps out of the moonlight, and his face seems perfectly normal. In the back of the cavern, you see a man hanging upside down by his feet, surrounded by hooded figures. It's the priest. With a snarl and a leap, the man before you attacks. If the red story marker is in place, Otharian, the Changer, will close in on the character possessing the ring, shouting, "It's mine! That stone, give it to me!" You also notice that what you thought was a pearl sitting on a ring is actually a polished stone, which glows very faintly, like moonlight. Any attempt to remove the ring fails. The character with the red story marker, and that's our choose our path. And the red story marker is not in play at this time, so we don't have to worry about that. And I think we're going to end the video here, and we're going to regroup for this next section. And that's going to require a map setup using a large cavern tile. So I think we are going to end the video here. I'm going to update all of their statistics, and we'll continue on probably next month for the next installment. At present, Cane Shears, our witch hunter, has 88 lore and 29 coin. Sasan Sobani has 80 lore and 28 coin. And Alec Vorster has 95 lore and a total of 29 coin. Our witch hunter has a Vita of 21 with no power points. The Magus has 5 Vita with 4 power points. And our Woodsman has 11 Vita with 5 power points. And that's how we're going to end this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again for the next episode of this campaign series, probably next month, where we'll continue with our playthrough of Folklore the Affliction. Thanks for watching. This is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.